Alright, this is Bill Jarrett of Packet Tracer d3235. This is my second attempt after wasting 40 minutes of my life. Alright, what we're going to do is try to configure switch 0 and switch 1 so that way PC 0 and 1 can communicate. We're going to assume that the routers are properly configured already. So, without further adu, we'll get into switch 0. Now, there's a lot of typing that has to be done. So, rather than waste your time and have you sit around here listening to me type, tippity-tappity typing, I will spare you a lot of that by simply putting this on pause, typing in some commands, and then coming back and showing you what happens. Alright, so I'll put you on pause for a minute. Okay, we're back. So we got switch open, or switch 0 open, and the first thing we did was enable the switch, right there. And then we put it into global configuration mode by typing in conf and then selecting T for terminal. And as you can see, we are now in global configuration mode. And we set the host name to be switch 0, enabled secret Cisco, interface VLAN 1, so that changes it to switch 0 config interface. So we left global configuration mode to interface configuration, and set the IP address to be 192.168.10.254. Pay attention to this little guy right here. You're going to see a difference between switch 0 and switch 1. This will be 10, this will be 20. So, and then we threw a no shut command. Alright, you'll notice that we're still in interface mode at this point. Alright, it's accepted all that, and then we exited out of config interface back to global configuration mode so we could set the default gateway. So the default gateway is 192.168.10.1. Now next we went in and we set up some passwords. So we threw from global configuration mode line con 0, line console. This is config line now, so now we're in that mode. And we threw password Cisco and then log in. Now the next line was line VTY04. In the book it shows you to put login first and then password Cisco. And I found that causes you to waste 45 minutes of your life because you will get it wrong at the end of this little chapter when you have the machine check it. So I put them back in the proper order so that way this thing will work right. So after that we throw an exit to get out of the config line. And here we are config, so that way we can configure a different interface, which is fast Ethernet 01. At which point, once we get into that mode, we can set the switch port mode, the access. We throw a no shut, and then exit twice because we have to get all the way back out to privileged user to be able to throw our copy, run, start. And of course, it asks us for a file name, which we don't give it. And it takes everything, so it looks really good. Now my next mission is going to be to go in here to switch 1 and do the exact same thing all over again. The only difference is that the IP addresses will change slightly because we're going with a different switch. It'll be .20 instead of .10. So again, you type the old enable, config, select terminal, and then we can start playing with everything. So I'm going to put you on pause for just a minute and knock all this out. Okay, we're back. Just finished typing. Find my spot where I just was. We're on switch 1 now. Okay, enabled it. Set global configuration mode, terminal, and then set the host name to be switch 1. And then we enabled secret Cisco. And then set the interface for VLAN 1. And you notice that the VLAN 1 IP address ends with a 254. You'll see this again. So on VLAN, on the other one it was 192.168.10.254 for switch 0's VLAN 1, and this one is 20.254. Okay, then we threw a no shut because remember we went from when we typed in interface, that put us in config interface. We've no shut, and then we've come down here, and we typed in an exit command. That's to bring us back to global configuration mode. Throw a couple spaces in, and then when I set the default gateway, which is .20.1, and then set the password to login, line VTY04, password Cisco, and log in again. Remember, the book shows it the opposite, but that screwed me up last time and made me waste 45 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Then I threw my exit, and the reason why we threw the exit was just to get out of config line so we can get and configure another interface. So we're configuring interface fast Ethernet 01, and now it's in the proper mode, and you see switch port mode access, a no shit. Excuse me. And then 2 exit commands in a row to get us all the way back out so we can do our copy run start. Because you can't do it from, you have to do it from privilege exec mode. Alright, so it built configuration, accepted it just fine, and everything looks good. Okay, now from here, we want to verify connectivity. Now the way we're going to try to do that is we're going to try to ping from PC0 over to, throughout the network to different locations. Alright, so we're going to pull up PC0 and go to this command prompt. And we'll start off by typing in ping 192.168.10.1. That's pinging and it's finding it. Alright, so we know where we sent that off to. Go ahead and minimize this just for a minute. If we look here, whoa, goodness. Alright, come on you. However, there we go. We can actually see all the addresses on here that tells us what is what ports are set to what. Same thing on the router. If you hover over it, it'll give you the same thing eventually. And all the way through here, we can see what the addresses are for each of these different objects. So we successfully pinged from PC0 to the first one, and we're trying to ping again to a different location. We're going to try to go to 192.168.10.1. Now this should be the VLAN 1 for switch 0, and it's fine yet without any problems. Okay, next up we're going to try to ping across that network to 168.20.1, which should be the default gateway on the other network. Oh, wrong one. Gotta ping it first, Bill. 192.168.20.1. It's pinging and it's finding it without any problems. Goody. Okay. Now let's try to go to PC1 and do the same thing. So we're going to come over here to the other side and try to ping back towards the other direction. Okay. Oops, I screwed up. There we go. I'm going to have to wait for it for a second. Okay, now that it's finished floating around, we can get back to it. Alright, ping 192.168. My fat fingers hit the wrong keys, so I ended up with an extra digit. .20.1. Here we go. So it's pinging away. It's finding it without any problems. Great. Now we're going to try VLAN 1 on switch 1. So we'll ping 192.168.20.254. Remember, the .254 is what tells me that it's VLAN 1. And it found it. Next, try to ping 192.168.10.1, which is on the other network. And let's find it without any problems. Alright, now let's try to ping PC1 from PC0. So what is PC1's IP address? Come on, you. We can actually look that information up right here in the IP configuration. So what we want to ping is this address right here. So I'm going to copy it, and we're going to try to ping it from over here. Get up there. Ping. So we're trying to ping the other PC1 from PC0. And it's finding it. So it looks like that we've completed all the activities now. We're going to go ahead and try and check our results and see what happened. I don't see how it's incomplete. Completed everything. What? Well, as far as I can tell, in the book it says I've done everything right. I don't know what it's asking for, so I'm done.